All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down 6 different businesses that are built to do one thing and one thing only: run themselves. Look, this isn't about finding another job or just another side hustle. This is about building systems that generate income for you.
Think about it. From the moment we first learn about work, what are we told? To make money, you have to trade your time. It's dollar for an hour, right? We're taught that this connection is a fundamental rule of life. But what if it's not? What if it's actually a lie? Today, we're going to take that whole idea apart.
So if that old time for money trade is a trap, and it is, how do you actually get out of it? How do you break that cycle where the only way to earn more is to work more?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to one single word that changes the entire game. You do it by building a system, a machine that works for you so you don't have to.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Let's start with the most accessible systems on the planet: digital systems. And these are awesome because honestly, the cost to get started is incredibly low. Sometimes it's even zero. First up is print on demand. Now, the real magic here is everything you don't have to do. Just imagine running a t-shirt or a poster business, but you have no warehouse, no boxes of inventory piled up in your garage, and you never, ever have to pack and ship a single thing. That's what this is.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Your investment can be literally nothing if you're the one making the designs. But the profit margins? I mean, look at this. They can soar as high as 90%. Why? Because once you create that design, it becomes a digital asset that can work for you around the clock, forever, with basically zero cost per sale.
So how does this machine work without you having to lift a finger? It's really just 4 simple steps. 1, you upload your design. That's your main job. 2, a customer somewhere in the world finds it and places an order. 3, the platform itself, like a Printify or Amazon, does everything else. They print it, they pack it, they ship it. And 4, you get paid. You're completely removed from all the physical work.
All right, let's move on to our second digital system, digital products. This is all about taking the knowledge that's already in your head and packaging it into something you create just one time, but that you can sell, well, an infinite number of times. We're talking about online courses, PDF guides, design templates, you name it.
Now, this is the part where a lot of people just freeze up. That little voice in your head, that imposter syndrome, kicks in and says, "Who am I to teach this? I'm not the #1 expert in the world." But here's the secret. You don't have to be. You just need to know more than the person who's just getting started. You're just helping the person who's a few steps behind you on the path. That's all it takes.
And the potential payoff for getting over that mental hurdle? It's huge. You can start this with $0, or you can invest a little bit in marketing. But look at the potential return. $1,000 to $7,000 a month is totally achievable. And get this, you can do that while spending just a few hours a week on it after you've launched. That's some serious leverage.
Okay, we've been hanging out in the digital world. Let's switch gears completely and talk about stuff you can actually touch. We're moving into physical systems, businesses built on real-world assets that make you money in the background. And we're going to start with a model that, I'll be honest, sounds a little too good to be true at first. It's called rental arbitrage. The whole idea is that you are earning income from a piece of property that you do not own. So, here's the playbook. First, you go out and rent an apartment in a really good location. Second, and this is the most important part, you cannot skip this, you get written permission from the landlord to sublease it. Third, you list it on sites like Airbnb. And fourth, this is the system part, you automate everything. Smart locks for check-in, cleaning services that are automatically scheduled, pricing tools that adjust on their own. The system runs the property for you.
All right, let's go from one big physical asset to a whole network of small ones. I'm talking about a classic business that people see every single day, but almost never think about owning. Vending machines. Seriously, think of it like the perfect employee. It works 24/7, it never complains, and it never calls in sick.
Let's just break down the math on one of these things. The investment is a couple $1,000s to get started, but a single machine, if you place it well, can bring in up to $600 a month. And that's for maybe an hour or 2 of your time each week just to restock it. But here's the key. Nobody stops at one. One machine is a hobby. 5 or 10 machines, now that's a real hands-off business. Okay, next up is a business built on a simple truth. Sometimes boring is beautiful. And in the world of business, boring can be incredibly profitable. I'm talking about laundromats. Why do they work so well? Because the demand is basically indestructible. No matter what the economy is doing, people's clothes will always get dirty. And don't you dare mistake boring for small. The laundromat industry in the US alone generates $5 billion in revenue every single year. Yeah, with a B. That's the kind of money you can make when you solve a problem that simply never goes away.
And for our final business, we've saved the biggest for last. We're sticking with that boring is beautiful theme. And this might just be the most powerful, and yep, the most boring business on our entire list: self-storage. Its simplicity is its genius. People have too much stuff, and you just provide them with a box to keep it in.
The real magic of self-storage comes down to one number: over 14 months. That's the average length of time a customer rents a single storage unit. This isn't about one-time payments. This is about creating an incredibly stable, long-term, recurring income stream. It's an absolute cash flow machine. So, we've looked at 6 completely different systems, right? From digital to physical, big to small. But there is a common thread, a kind of secret sauce that makes almost all of them work way, way better. And that is the simple principle of niching down.
Think about it like this. Trying to sell to everyone is like shouting into a crowded stadium. It's just noise. But selling to someone specific, that's like having a one-on-one conversation. A t-shirt for moms is fine, I guess. But a t-shirt for moms who work out at 5 a.m., now that connects with somebody. A productivity course is vague, but a productivity course for freelance designers, that solves a specific person's real problem.
So you have to remember this. Specificity isn't just some minor detail. It is the thing that separates the people who actually sell from the people who just sit around and wait. Being specific is how you make your perfect customer feel like your product was made just for them.
We've covered a ton of ground here, from digital designs all the way to giant storage facilities. But they all share that same core idea. You build a system, and you let the system do the heavy lifting. The goal is always to move from being the person doing the work to being the person who owns the machine that does the work.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important point of all. The question you should be asking isn't which one of these businesses is the absolute best. The only question that really matters is this: which one will you start?